Hi, my name is Rock Santos, co-founder of Q Swimwear, and I'm a swimmer. We've created a swim brand by swimmers, for all swimmers. Even the swimmer that needs a new racing suit for every meet. Yeah, you know who you are. You and your parents spend all kinds of money on a new racing suit because it's stretched out every time you wear it. Not anymore. Q Swimwear has developed a racing suit that holds its compression and that lasts for over 50 swims. Q Swimwear, the answer for the swimmer that always needs a new racing suit.
Hi there, this is the Morning Swim Show for Tuesday, January 4th, 2011. I'm your host, Peter Busch, and we have a special team today, a team Morning Swim Show. We got the Morning Swim Show guys in here, Garrett McCaffrey, Jeff Commings. We're going to look ahead to what we can expect in 2011, and we're going to start by kind of looking where we've been over the past couple of years with suits, without suits, and projecting who's going to be the dominant swimmers in 2011. Garrett, start with the question of men's sprinting. Can Cielo stay the sprint king?
I think he'll be the 50 sprint king once again, and it's not stay because at this point Nathan Adrian has kind of taken his crown from Pan Pacs. The question is, how many people really put their full effort and concentration into those Pan Pacific Championships or any of these championship meets in 2010 without having one combined, you're the best in the world this year type of meet? So it's just a question to see how much he really put into it. When I talked to his coach Brett Hawk at the ASCA clinic right after Pan Pacs, he kind of made it seem that Caesar wasn't really all that pumped. He was going to get up and get after it when it started to count again for world championships and Olympic gold medals as opposed to Pan Pacific medals. So I think he's going to get back on top of the game in the 50. I think he's just too talented and too raw, and we saw it this past week or this past meet in Dubai at the short course world championships, how good he is still in those 50 freestyles and 100 freestyles even in Dubai. But I just think that 100 freestyle is open. It's something that he didn't necessarily admit this at Pan Pacs, but we talked with him on the Morning Swim Show, and we talked to Brett on the Morning Swim Show about a fear of the 100. And I think there's too many big players in that 100 freestyle with Nathan Adrian, Brent Hayden, maybe Michael Phelps, who could take advantage of even a little bit of fear from Cielo in that 100 freestyle. Speaking of kind of an open field, I don't really see a dominant female sprinter in the world right now. Do you, Jeff?
No, not at all. And in 2009, it was Britta Steffen, and she took off 2010, but now everybody's kind of readjusting, seeing where they are. And right now, I'm guessing that maybe if we wanted to say that there was a dominant sprinter in 2010, it was Renomi Kromowidjojo of the Netherlands. She won the 50 and the 100 at the Short Course Worlds, and she probably would have done the same at Europeans, but she sat out that because she was sick. And I know the Netherlands has really prided themselves in the past few years on having a really good sprint group, and I think they're going to go into 2011 knowing that they are the ones that are on top, and they're going to try to hold on to that, knowing that someone like Britta Steffen will be coming back with a strong focus in 2011, and also knowing that people like Natalie Coughlin in the 100 will be always a strong force. And definitely, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but Libby Trickett's coming back, and I'm sure she wants to put her name at the top of that list.
Yeah, we'll talk about comeback swimmers in a little bit. It was certainly the year for people to decide that, yeah, they are going to make another go at it for 2012, which I guess is to be expected. You're sort of halfway through that Olympic cycle. But let's focus on, who really stood out in 2010, male and female swimmers of the year. I think it's pretty obvious that the male swimmer of the year was Ryan Lochte. My big question, though, moving forward is there was a lot of talk about how he's past Phelps, or at least for now. But when we project forward, is Ryan Lochte going to be better than Michael Phelps? Flat out. Let's say Phelps, decides to try as hard as he did, in the past. Is Lochte perhaps now an even better swimmer?
Is 2012 Ryan Lochte going to be better than 2008 Michael Phelps?
Not necessarily. Is he just a better swimmer now? Are we at the point where, hey, it's undisputed the best swimmer in the world is Ryan Lochte, or is Phelps, if he turns the switch, can he get right back and hopscotch over Ryan?
It's just such a huge if. I mean, what's it going to take? After the 2009 World Championships, when he lost to Biederman, you thought, oh, he's going to be fired up. He's motivated. That's what Bowman pointed to as something to relight his fire. And then after 2010, getting beat by Lochte for the first time head-to-head in that 200 IM in a long course championship meet, you're like, oh, well, he's got to turn it on now. That's the inspiration that he needed. That's the new motivation. But we haven't seen him. He's not firing like that anymore. He doesn't have that same drive, and so it's just such a huge if. And at this point, Ryan Lochte has taken no time off. At Pan Pacs, he maybe took 3 days after these Dubai World Championship short course stuff where he just blew everybody out of the water setting world records. I don't even think he took a day off. So he is in the same zone that Michael Phelps was in from 2000 to 2008, where he's not taking days off. He's just motivated. He's getting better and better. And I think even if somehow, some way, Phelps does turn it on and does decide, okay, I really want this again. I really want Olympic glory in London. It might be too late.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think Ryan Lochte's already too far ahead.
Because Lochte hasn't just caught up to the times Phelps was swimming, at least in the mutual events. I mean, the IMs, he's surpassed him. I mean, especially that 200 IM. Jeff, I think even if Phelps regains his quote-unquote form, I think Lochte's better than him now, at least in the 200 IM.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an uphill battle for Phelps because he knows that not only does he have to get back to the stature he had in 2008, but Ryan Lochte's already shown that he is better than Phelps was in 2008. So if Phelps thought that I can just cruise and just be as good as I was in 2008, he's got to know that's not going to be enough because Ryan Lochte's already said, I'm raised the bar, now everyone else has to catch up to me.
That, I think, big picture will be the big story of 2011 because Phelps, obviously, he can't wait till 2012 to turn on the switch. But if by the summer, if we see Phelps back in it and winning multiple gold medals, and not just, the 200 fly, but if he wins 3 or 4 individual gold medals, then all of a sudden we have to take him really seriously again.
That's the question. Which medals is he going to win in Shanghai? I mean, that's a big debate looking forward because I think the 200 IM is somewhat given, although I don't know if I'm on the same page as you, Jeff, in saying that Lochte is better than Phelps was in 2008 because a 403 still hasn't been touched in that 400 IM. And I know Lochte has lowered the world record since Phelps set it in 2008, but if Michael Phelps gets back to that same zone, it's not so much about the times, it's about that mentality that nobody is going to beat him. And Ryan Lochte wasn't able to surpass that until this past summer. The question isn't necessarily in the IMs. I think we've kind of established going forward that I think the IMs are set. What about the 200 freestyle?
200 free is probably the event that will be the most telling because Phelps will probably just take the butterflies. People will concede even if he's not Superman. He can probably win those.
The 100
and
for sure.
And the 200 IM, maybe the IMs he's willing to give to Lochte. But I think that 200 free, Lochte seriously wants to beat everyone in that event to show that he is as versatile as Phelps was. So I think that is the telling event in Shanghai.
Absolutely.
Well, and you also have some players in that mix as well. Will Paul Biederman be able to step up and repeat his performance from 2009? You got Yannick Agnel, who's one of the fresh faces on the scene. And so the 200 freestyle is going to be pretty close race all around. It just won't be the 2 guys in the center of the pool or the 2 Americans, Phelps and Lochte. I think it'll be a battle, period. And if Phelps can get back on top of that event, then we might be able to discuss who the top swimmer in the world is again, if he can find his way back to the top of that list. But he hasn't won an international, I guess he won Pan Pacs this past summer. He hasn't been the fastest in the world since 2008, though.
Who was the best female swimmer in 2010? Can we even say definitively?
I can't say definitively. I was on the panel that picked the female world swimmers of the year for Swimming World magazine, and I was back and forth on it. My natural choice was to pick Rebecca Soni, but
I just don't think she swims enough events to be my best female swimmer of 2010.
I mean, who are you thinking we're gonna see?
I don't know. I mean, there's no Phelps or Lochte obviously on the women's side. They're all pretty much limited to 2, maybe 3 events, which can still have great swimmers in there. But I think it's going to be impossible to pick one specifically. I am interested to see what happens with Jessica Hardy I mean, I think she has the versatility to be great, but she kind of had a roller coaster year. Had some great swims, some not so great.
Yeah, and I think, for me, I think Emily Seebohm really showed us what she can do, and I know that we couldn't really count Commonwealth Games as we don't know what degree the Delhi Belly affected her swims, but she showed us that she can swim with the rest of the girls. She won the 200 IM at Pan Pac. She was right there in the 100 back. So I think she's definitely someone that I'm looking forward to seeing in 2011 when the world gets together, because she's going to get up there and she's going to race everybody as hard as she can, because she has already said that she wants to win multiple medals at the Olympics.
Do you think there's a name that's, we know, but is maybe not a superstar on the female side, like an Emily Seebohm that's, people know, but she's going to be the Stephanie Rice after 2008 by the end of this year?
Well, it's tough to say Stephanie Rice is on the horizon. Somebody who has the versatility in the IMs obviously opens up a lot of other events, but I think a name like Allison Schmidt is one that we know and we look to and we count on.
But
for
that's
things.
that's what I'm thinking of.
But
not necessarily a worldwide name.
She's underrated, and I think she's got a shot to win 400 and the 200 this
Missy
summer.
Franklin. I mean,
Yes.
the way she swam this year and came up, sure, people in America are starting to hear that name, but I could see her being an international sensation by the end of this year.
Oh, absolutely. She had a breakout summer, not only getting onto that national scene, but the international scene as well, winning medals and making that world championship team. And the way that she did it was the most amazing. She made it in the 200 backstroke. Came in with the best time at nationals with like a 2:10, went 2:09 to make the Pan Pac team, and then because she had to, in order to pass Elizabeth Pelton's time from the prelims, dropped another 1.5 seconds off her time to make sure that she could make it onto the world championship team. And to be able to do that as a 15-year-old and focus and know that, okay, I have to do this. There's no choice. I need to go 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds faster than my previous best time 3 weeks ago, but I got to do it. So she did it. And so I think she's got that it factor that could definitely be the superstar level. And I think even an Elizabeth Beisel now, it's a regular name. We love her here on the morning swim show. I don't think internationally she gets the recognition of a Natalie Coughlin, but she dominated the 400 IM this past summer at Pan Pacs. She dominated the 200 backstroke. Those two events are go-to. If she can maybe get some more strength down at Florida when you start to add in weights and some more of that type of training, I think her 200 IM could come along. And I think she might be another person that will be one of the headliners. If Natalie Coughlin isn't. Natalie Coughlin, if you're looking for versatility, Natalie Coughlin is the one that spreads the most events. She's got a chance on the 100 fly, 100 back, 100 free. If she wanted to do the 200 IM or the 200 free, she could be in there. Just to kind of go back to the original question, though, when it comes to pure dominance, nobody did it like Rebecca Soni in 2010. You can say Jessica Hardy, but she can't beat Rebecca Soni in the breaststrokes.
I just... I don't know. I wish Sony swam more events, but she's obviously the most dominant breaststroker in the world right now, bar none. Yeah. Does Coughlin count as a comeback story this year? Or she never. I know she left, but she was still dancing and.
Yeah, she was staying in shape for Dancing with the Stars, but a lot of people were just wondering. She wasn't in the pool, and it's one thing to be in shape out of the pool. It's another to constantly be swimming and keeping your feel for the water. And I was actually quite amazed how well she was able to come back. I think when Nationals came around, she had been in the water for a little less than a year. And to be able to win Nationals and then to come back and be top 3 at Pan Pacs in the 100 back was saying a lot. And then, she did very well in Dubai. So I think it is a little bit of a comeback story, because I think a lot of people were saying maybe she's testing the waters in 2009 to see if she really wants to come back. She was successful with Dancing with the Stars, and a lot of people were just kind of holding their breath to see if after that she was going to get back in, and then she did, and I was very surprised to see how well she did.
Tell you what, there's no doubt the way she swam to end the year that she's in it to win in 2012. Now, I had concerns myself. You never know just what so much time off will do to someone's motivation, but I think she thinks she can be better than ever.
Yeah.
Who's another big comeback story of 2010 for you that will project as success in 2011?
2010 comebacks other than Natalie Coughlin. Would you consider Jason Lezak getting back into the mix and making the team a comeback story? It's kind of the same case where you just didn't hear too much. He chose to not do world championships last year. but got right back in the mix, making the team, cementing that 400 free relay.
And I am curious about Libby Trickett. I mean, I just don't know.
So are we looking forward to 2011 or
kind of both? I mean, I think Libby Trickett. I mean, it didn't make sense when she retired. I think we all agreed on that. We did the interview with her and pressed her a little bit, and I think we could tell by her answers that she wasn't 100% committed to retirement.
Right.
So I wasn't surprised when she came out. I mean, she's in her young 20s still.
Right.
She's obviously swimming. She could be. I think she could be the most dominant female swimmer in the world if she was totally in it.
Yeah, and
because she's got 150, 100 fly. I mean, she could win 3 gold medals, in my opinion, if she really put her mind to it.
And Australia needs her.
They definitely do need her. I think a lot of people were really counting on Yerlan Kukla in 2010 to be the replacement for Libby Trickett, and that's a lot of pressure for a young kid. She's 15 years old.
Yeah.
So that may have been a little bit too much pressure in the end for Yerlan, but it's definitely going to be a great boost for Australia to have Libby back, and we'll see her swimming her first meet in about a couple of weeks. So that'll be her big test. It'll be in a regular meet in Australia, so there won't be any pressure. But I think that's a chance for the world to see if they need to really watch out for Libby Trickett. Unfortunately, because of the time of her comeback, she won't be able to swim at World Championships because of the 9-month window that she has to stay within for FINA. So she'll just be swimming in Australia, posting some good times, I'm sure, later this year. But I think it's going to be – I think a fire got lit under her when she was watching the relays and the 100 free at Pan Pacs, and she knows what she has to do, and I'm sure she's down under doing it right now.
You know what also might have inspired her, going back to your original question, the performance of Jeff Hugel. This past year, making a comeback, getting on the medal stand at Pan Pacs and those butterfly events. And he's older than Libby. She was probably looking up to Jeff as a younger swimmer, and seeing him be able to come back and perform the way he did this past summer might be pretty inspirational.
Jeff Hugel is living proof that if you really still have the drive, you can do it. I mean, the guy was 300 pounds, for God's sakes. The guy was 300 pounds. We saw the pictures. I mean, he told us he was the only time he was up at 6 in the morning was when he was finishing up a night of partying and eating and drinking. I mean, the guy's a great guy. We interviewed him, and he just said, you know what? I first just wanted to get back in shape for my own health, and look at him. I mean, I don't know what he'll do in 2012 or 2011. He's more of a 50 flyer than anything else, but good for him.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk about NCAA swimming a little bit here. There were certainly some breakout performers this year in college swimming. I mean, the name that obviously comes to mind, Josh Schneider. Sort of, he predicted that people would know his name by the end of that meet in March, and he was right. I mean, he beat Nathan Adrian in the 50 free, something really no one expected. I don't even know if he really believed it, but good for him for predicting it, because now he's on the World Championship team. I mean, he obviously showed in Dubai. He can do it both short course, long course. What a great story.
Yeah.
He might even be the breakout swimmer of the year,
absolutely,
outside of college swimming.
I can't think of anybody that would top it. To be kind of come out of nowhere in the sprint events is the rare thing. To be able to get past somebody like Nathan short course, and then to go through all the things that he went through this past summer with breaking his hand and the disqualification. That was such a bizarre series of incidents and whatnot. But I talked to his coach, Jeff Daigle, who is out at Swim Mac. He was at a meet that I was at this just a few weeks ago, and he'd said that we just are trying to keep Josh naive. We're trying to keep him as raw and untouched as possible, because he looks at these psych sheets and he's like, who's Fred Busquet? Is he good? What's up with that? And so if you keep that freshness and that raw naivety, just being able to just have no clue and turn off all those distractions, I think he could definitely become one of the sprinters, along with Nathan Adrian, that kind of brings us back to the top of those medal stands in the sprint freestyle events.
Yeah. Now, your alma mater, Texas, won the men's championship.
Yeah.
My question is, though, are we past the days of dynasties in college swimming? I mean, are we going to see anyone win 3 in a row on either side again?
College swimming has gotten so spread out in the past 5 years that I think it's nearly impossible. I think a lot of schools are really. I don't think one school anymore is able to just grab everybody, all the top swimmers, and use that to their advantage. That said, everybody probably didn't think that Auburn could win, where they went 5 or 6 in a row at the time, because college swimming was so spread out. All the best swimmers were going to so many different schools. So to say a dynasty is done, you never know. I mean, everybody knows that everybody says and really believes that Cal is going to win the men's meet just based on what they have. They have all the superstars. And, Dave Durden has already, he's probably knowing that it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for him in 2000, I guess it'd be 2012 NCAAs. And I'm really interested to see what the recruiting classes do next year, because this was probably one of the best recruiting classes I've seen in probably 2 or 3 years, just based on the raw talent that's coming in. Every year there's always just 1 or 2 swimmers, but this year, Clay Youngquist is probably going to really help Texas keep that tradition. But at the same time, Dave Durden got some really good guys for Cal to really help him in maybe 2 or 3 years' time.
Looking at the women, Julia Smith was probably the swimmer of the year in 2010. Who do you predict will be swimmer of the year on the women's side in 2011?
I'm going back to Allison Schmidt again. I think her dominance and her team focus for this Georgia team that I predicted in split time earlier this year to win the national championship, I think will drive her to be the Julia Smith of 2010, winning the 200 free, 500 free, being a big key in those relays for Georgia. I think at this point, I look at her to be the swimmer of the year for the NCAA on the women's side. Do
you think Georgia wins? I know we predicted Georgia to win last year, and while they had a good meet, Florida pulled off the victory.
I think, and after we did that split time, Jeff, I got a bunch of emails from viewers, and I talked to some people even this past weekend, including David the Swim Geek reader, who is picking USC. So I think USC, if you look at what they've done so far this year, it's a tempting pick. I mean, they've got all these pieces in place. They're going to kind of hinge on the development of Casey Carlson, not as a breaststroker, but as a sprint freestyler, because they need that sprint freestyle piece in order to really cement it home. But they got Lindsay DePaul on the butterfly. You obviously have Carlson to do some breaststroke. Katinka Hasu, one of the most versatile swimmers in the NCAA. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, a few weeks ago to dual meet, they had another girl other than Katinka Hasu, and I can't even remember who it was. I think maybe DePaul went at 4:05 in the 400 IM as well. So just showing how much depth they have across the board. Right. I'm sticking with Georgia. I still think Georgia has the experience. Georgia has, been to this meet with this. It seems like this same team the past 3 years just knocking on that door. And like I said, at split time, I still don't think you can give Jack Bowerly that many chances and not see him come through at some point or another. But USC is a name that I wish I would have thrown out in split time, and that's why I want to make sure we at least throw it out there now, because they will be in contention in March.
Dave Salo's done a great job finally getting the team I think he's been trying to build. He's got some excellent pieces, but in college swimming, you need more sprinters. I think there are at least 2 sprint freestylers away from really being in the game.
But doubting sprinters for Sprint Salo? Come on, man. You can't doubt Salo to be able to develop some of those sprinters. I don't know who it'll be.
You got to have the horses. He doesn't have them right now, in my opinion. Great team, probably a top 5 team, not national champions just yet. Maybe next year.
Yeah, it always comes down to those relays, but nobody would have thought that Florida last March would have won the 200 free relay. And they did over people like Stanford that had established sprinters.
Yeah, it's so skewed towards sprinting in college swimming, because that's how you get the relay points. And I just think he's got excellent 100 and 200 type people, but not that 50 speed that you need to. That 4x50 freestyle relay, for example, might not even make top 8. Yeah. You can't have relays not making top 8 in every single event. Top 5 if you want to be the national champion. All right, we could probably spend a bunch of time just on this last question that I want to bring up, and then whatever you guys want to touch on. But again, Phelps is the biggest name in swimming still, even with Ryan Lochte's emergence as the greatest swimmer in the world in 2010. Phelps is the one who brings the world to swimming.
No doubt about it.
So a lot of the popularity of the sport still hinges on Phelps getting it together for 2011. So just thoughts on that, and what do you think he'll do in Shanghai?
I just hope that he tries for the events that he could go for, because if he at least goes into those IMs, the 200 IM and the 200 freestyle, even if he gets beat, at least then we have some transition. Then we say, okay, now general public, meet Ryan Lochte. This is the guy who dethroned Michael Phelps. As long as he swims, he's got to go after those events still, and I hope he does. I still think he's a lock in both the flies, and I think more so. Everybody's looked at his 200 fly because that's what he initially made the team as, or team in it as a 16-year-old, but 15-year-old. But I think his dominant event now is the 100 fly more than the 200 fly, and he looked better in that this summer. He wasn't even the top 200 fly in the world this year. It was by less than a tenth of a second, but still, I think his dominant event is the 100 fly. I think he still can win the 200 fly versus anyone in the world, and I think that those two events get him, along with his relay events, to at least 4 medals this summer. 2 individual, 2 relay, because I think that the medley relay will still be great once he gets on there, and I think the 800 freestyle relay, he changes that around as well. Even though we lost that short course to the Russians this past World Championships in Dubai, I think with Michael Phelps on both those relays, it's a completely different ball game. But I don't think he's going to be the most dominant swimmer like he was in 2007. I think he's kind of.
I guess the big question is, are we declaring that era over? I mean, are we saying that, hey, it's not realistic to still expect Phelps to go to the major international meets and absolutely dominate? Is that over either because he doesn't have the drive that he had 2-3 years ago, or because other swimmers have caught up? Is the Michael Phelps era of dominance over?
That's a very hard question to answer.
I know, but it's going to be the big question.
It's going to be a question that won't be answered until Shanghai, because here's the thing: everybody who was dominant in 2009 has said this has been, or 2010 said, I was using this as kind of a rebuilding year just to see where I am, and now that I've done these things in 2010, Cielo, Biederman, people who are going to challenge him, Taewon Park especially, they are looking to 2011 to say, I am the one that you need to watch out for 2012, just as Michael Phelps did in 2007 at the World Championships. Because if you're not dominant, if you don't have that edge a year out from the Olympics, it's going to be really hard for you to really say, I've got the edge going to the Olympics. If Phelps doesn't win 4 gold medals, I think it's going to be a little too late. Like we've said, it's probably a little too late for him to say, I've got to really kick into the gear now, because everybody else, like Ryan Lochte, they're already back in the pool, raising the bar even a little bit more, because they know that what Phelps did in 2008 probably they think can't be matched, but then somebody like Ryan Lochte says it can, and so they're trying to catch up to Ryan Lochte, even including Michael Phelps.
I'm gonna just say this, and I hope that by saying this, I give Michael Phelps a kick in the ass. He's not winning more than 2 individual gold medals in Shanghai or in London.
I think that's a safe assumption.
Well, I just think that it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, he's been there, he's done that, and Ryan Lochte has the drive that he used to have. It's the Ryan Lochte era now, and I think that the baton has been passed, and I know I've talked to some greats like a Tom Dolan about being able to turn it on and know that you own somebody.
Do you think deep down Phelps feels like the torch has been passed? I mean, I think he still thinks in the back of his mind that, hey, I can still turn it on. I can do this. I just don't. But the difference is, I think the secret is, no, it's too late.
Well, the difference is, here's the secret, is that Ryan Lochte knows. He doesn't think in the back of his mind. He knows he owns Michael Phelps right now.
You think so?
I think Ryan Lochte knows for a fact that
You don't think he's worried at all that, if Phelps, and he probably hopes he does because he's a competitive guy, but do you think he thinks if Phelps cranks it up and starts training like he did before 2008, I'm not a shoe-in for any of this?
Phelps got his confidence in 2008 knowing that he had trained every Sunday, every holiday, every birthday in between 2004 and 2008. I think that same strength and confidence is now on Ryan Lochte's side and saying, all right, yeah, I've already try and catch up. Let's see what you can do. But I think Ryan Lochte has put enough in his confidence bank with the type of work he's put in 2009, 2010, and already going into 2011 that he has that confidence and the mental edge. And that's what it is. Behind the blocks, there are certain athletes that just know they're gonna beat you. They just know that they're gonna beat you. But I think right now there's no way that Michael Phelps knows he can beat Ryan Lochte, and I think that Ryan Lochte knows that he can beat Michael Phelps at this point in the game.
And here's
I'm with you. I hope that this is a kick in the pants for Michael Phelps, and he gets ready and gets after it, because nobody loved watching 2008 more than I did. I love that kind of excellence. I don't think, as great as Ryan Lochte is, that he can do what Michael Phelps did, because too many things have to fall into place perfectly. But it's just kind of been a series of, okay, Michael Phelps is going to come back. He's still Michael Phelps. And that happened in 2009 in the 200 freestyle. It was like, I don't care. Michael Phelps will still beat Paul Biederman in this, you know? And then it kind of was like, oh, wow, Michael Phelps didn't win the 200 freestyle. And then he kind of gave you hope by winning the 100 butterfly. And then the next summer you're like, Michael Phelps is going to reestablish himself. He's going to beat Lochte in the 200 IM. And then Lochte beat him. And then you're like, oh. And now all of a sudden it's like, until it happens, you don't think it can happen. But if you look over the past 2 years, it's happened, and it's happened in some different places that really make it seem like at least the level of dominance. I think he'll still win medals and still winning gold medals, and going to 4 different Olympics and doing all that. He'll still go down as one of the greatest, if not, I still think he'll go down as the greatest.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, if you're asking if he's going to be the greatest swimmer this summer or in 2012, I think Ryan Lochte has proven that he owns that spot right now.
Right, so I think the most telling event of 2011 is going to be the men's 200 free in Shanghai.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's probably one race that I'm looking forward to on the men's side more than any other. I think the men's mile is going to be the other one, because I want to see if Sun Yang can break that Grant Hackett world record. He got really close at the Asian Games, and I think that's one of those records that even if it didn't get broken with the high-tech suits, everybody thought would never be broken, and now it's been approached. So with the 200 free, Phelps, Lochte, Biederman, Ognell, Taewon Park, I mean, you got 5 people right there who are all going to be pushing for that gold medal. It's going to be one epic race if everybody comes to that race on their game. And just to go back to Phelps and Lochte, what has really impressed me about both those guys, not necessarily just how fast they swim, but just that they continually say that they both hate to lose, which is something that my coach at Texas, Eddie Reese, always said is, you know, the best swimmers don't love to win, they hate to lose. And we're going to see how much if Phelps really hates to lose, because I think he's going to experience, he experienced it in 2009, he experienced it in 2010. If he experiences it again in 2011, I think we can say that the torch has been passed, because he's gonna experience what it's like to be like everyone else, and maybe that will officially be the end of the era for Michael Phelps.
Guys, pretty good. Look forward to 2011.
Yeah, it's an exciting year.
Yeah,
it's going to be a very exciting year.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot for watching this little projection that we had here with the Morning Swim Show team. We'll see you next time.